Ron Maiden, a very special guest here this weekend at the New Zealand Festival of Motor Racing. You've been kind enough to bring the 1974 Chris Amon Formula One car all the way over from Europe. Tell us a little bit about the car and the history with it.
Well, its history is checkered. Of course, I wasn't involved in 74, so I don't know what went on then, but all bad things, I believe. I found it in Germany in a barn, and the guy didn't seem to want it. And it just seemed like a cheap way into F1, really, because all the cars are worth a fortune. And so I bought it and got someone far better than I to repair it. And it's fabulous. I mean, it really is. It's as quick as I want to go. I don't want to go any quicker than that will take me. I kind of tended to be a bit more tentative than I would like to be, to keep the car in one piece, because Chris Amon's driving it this afternoon in some high-speed demos, and that was really why I came here, to reunite him with the car. I don't know quite where I got that ambition from, but anyway, it's like a dream come true.
Now, this is a real family affair in historic motor racing. We've got Frank, Judy and Michael Lyons here, all visitors from the UK, and both of you are racing here this weekend in the Formula 5000s. How's it going for both of you so far?
We had a pretty tough weekend insofar as Michael ended up knocking 2 corners off his car yesterday, and the team worked bloody hard to get it back on track for this morning's race. And this morning's race he excelled himself by getting the second fastest lap and in a good position for the long race this afternoon.
Also the father-son rivalry. I'm sure that you guys are out there to beat each other as much as you are everyone else.
Yeah, it's good. When we first started, we were quite close, but Dad's not a bad teacher in his age.
And what about yourself?
I'm getting old and stupid and making up for it with bad driving, I guess. That's why he's got quicker than me.
Now we join the Tasman Cars for some more single-seater racing.
Well, as the name suggests, the Tasman Cars are from cars that competed in the Tasman Series. It went from 1964 to 1975. Some say it was the pinnacle of New Zealand motor racing. Others say that the Toyota Racing Series could be that. This is lap 1, and it is a significant car out in the front because it's Rob Hall driving the 1968 246T Dino V6 engine in it. This is the car that Chris Amon won the 1969 Tasman Series in. It's a 68 model car, but because of the different classes in the Tasman Series, they shoehorned a V6 engine into it, and as I said, Amon won in 1969. Some very famous drivers out that year. Jim Clark from the UK, Denny Hulme, of course, Bruce McLaren from New Zealand, Frank Gardner from Australia, Jackie Stewart from Scotland, Phil Hill, all names that are iconic in motor racing worldwide, have all competed at the Tasman Series. So it is Rob Hall in the front in the Ferrari. Little V6 powered rocket ship. Distant second at the moment, I think it'll be car number 41, and that's Phil Harris in a Brabham BT31. That's a Repco V8 powered machine, Australian machine obviously. So cars from different eras here as we watch Hall come down through this off-camber turn 1. Beautifully fully restored Ferrari ex Chris Amon, so real significance here at the New Zealand Festival of Motor Racing, celebrating Chris Amon. Last year it was celebrating the deeds, the life and times of Bruce McLaren. This year all the accolades go to the man from Bulls, Chris Amon. And he drove this very car in the Tasman Series and won it in 1969. Rob Hall is winning the Tasman Series memorial race, if you like, here at Hampton Downs. Second place, getting a little bit closer, is Phil Harris in the Brabham BT31. And in third place, I think it's the Chevron B17 of Martin Bullock. And that one's quite easily distinguished. You'll see the wing on the car. 2.4 kilometres around here at, 2.8 kilometres around here at Hampton Downs. Pretty much identical lap distance to Pukekohe Park Raceway, but a vastly different circuit as Hall takes it across the stripe to complete a lap here at Hampton Downs. Harris gets a little bit closer, but really hasn't got an answer at this stage for the Ferrari Dino. So the two of them have already cleared out and they've got a substantial lead. This is car number 35, and this is Peter Avery from Waikanae. This is a 1965 BT16 Brabham. It's a 1600cc machine. This is a good look at car number 31. This is Phil Harris. He currently sits in second place, but it's a lonely old race in second place because Rob Hall has just disappeared. Another car worth having a look at there is car number 18. That's a 1969 Jane Brabham, so a combination of two Australian icons. BT23, the 1600, if we go back to the race area, completes another lap here at Hampton Downs. Down through the gearbox and hard on the brakes, and it looks like Harris is getting a little bit closer. Well, I mentioned the Tasman Series from 1964 to 1975. In 1969, the year that Chris Amon won in the little Ferrari Dino that you're seeing leading this race at the moment as we watch Peter Bowl, there were 3 New Zealand rounds. Pukekohe was the New Zealand Grand Prix, then we went to Levin, and then we went to Christchurch for the Lady Wigram. Oh, we've got the safety cars out, and I've got a feeling that that is the car of David Mitchell, car number 9, that's come to grief. There is the man in second place. This is Harris. Is he getting closer to Hall as the number 9 is taken off? We're under safety car here in the Tasman Series racing. And the safety car boards out, so the safety car will pull off this time, so it will be a one-lap sprint in the Tasman Series. I was telling you the 3 rounds in New Zealand. Pukekohe, the New Zealand Grand Prix, Levin, and then Christchurch. In Australia, Surfers Paradise, Warwick Farm in Sydney, Sandown in Melbourne, and Longford in Tasmania made up the 7-round series. Green flag racing, 1 lap to go. Now, if I was Phil Harris, I would have been a little bit closer to Hall there as they dropped the green flag, because we know that this little Ferrari Dino V6, the 246T, is very, very fast. It was made in 1968. As I said, Chris Amon drove it in the Tasman Series and won the series in 69. Well, Rob Hall has already started to pull away from Harris here in his Repco V8 Brabham, and he will win this Tasman Series memorial race. Already he's got a sizable lead. Looks like a good scrap going on for third place, though. Martin Bullock has come right up onto the rear of Phil Harris. Bullock in the Chevron B17. You'll see, because that's a bit more modern a car, it runs the aerodynamical package. You've got the wing on the rear and also the wing on the front. Peter Bowl in the Lotus is in the 4th place there, and then it's Peter Avery from Waikanae in the BT16, but it is all number 4. The car kindly brought out here to mark this special occasion for Chris Amon. Rob Hall in the Ferrari Dino. Chris Amon took this car to the Tasman Series Championship in 1969. Rob Hall takes it to a race win here at Hampton Downs in 2011. In second place, it will be Phil Harris in the Brabham, and in third place, it'll be Martin Bullock in the Chevron. 4th place is Lance Carwadine from Australia in the Jane Brabham.
Now this weekend, the New Zealand Festival of Motor Racing celebrates the career of one of our Formula One legends, Chris Amon. We caught up with Chris for a chat and a reflection on his career. Chris Amon, we're here at a festival that's bearing your name, and what a magnificent display of cars here this weekend.
Yeah, certainly a few memories come back with it. I've seen and driven cars that in some cases I haven't actually sat in for over 50 years, so amazing stuff.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Is there any in particular that hold special memories for you over the rest?
Well, I think all of them in their own way. The March was, I guess, a significant car in my career, because I left Ferrari after 3 years to go and drive for March, and it was actually turned out to be a disappointing car in that it was, having said they had a lot of money, they didn't, and the car that they built was actually very basic. But having said that, I finished second in the Belgian and French Grand Prix with it, and it, interestingly enough, it still holds the lap record on the old Spa circuit, because they never had a Formula One race on the old circuit after that. And so that's significant. the little Dino Ferrari, obviously, I won the New Zealand Grand Prix with that.
So if we look over your career, you competed in 96 official Grand Prix. Not many people probably know that you actually won 8 non-championship Grand Prix against all of the regular Formula One drivers, and obviously that elusive, proper Grand Prix win evaded you.
Yes, it certainly had its frustrating moments. In many cases, it wasn't significant things going wrong, like engines blowing up. It'll be a fuse that drives the fuel pump, or a minor little thing, punctures, that sort of thing. But I guess that was fate, and that was the way it was meant to be.
Chris, look, thank you for talking to us, and I hope this is a fitting tribute to your career, and that you enjoy the rest of the weekend. We certainly are, and let's just let the racing roll on.
Thanks very much for that.
Join us now for coverage of the mighty muscle cars.
Well, probably the most modern cars you will see here at Hampton Downs over the weekend. They are the muscle cars. It's the Auckland Muscle Car Group and the Central Muscle Car Group combining, but it's an Australian that sits on pole position, and he gets the very best of the starts, and that is Paul Stubber into turn 1. Tim Latrobe chasing him in the Mercedes in second place, and a great start by the look of it from Shane Weakston. We'll let them sort themselves out as they go through 1, head down the short chute into 2. A huge field of muscle cars. Normally, under their own championship regulations, they run in different classes, but I think they're all together today. And look at this. Paul Stubber is just absolutely enjoying this, just flicking the Camaro sideways. Latrobe in second place. Then it is the man they call the Tin Man. That is Shane Weakston in the Scania Holden, the HQ. Runs a small block Chevy of around about 600 horsepower, but so too is this car. Into the hairpin for the first time. It's the Camaro in the front. Latrobe, they've done a lot of work on the Service European Mercedes over the last couple of seasons, and he tells me he really, really likes the conditions and the circuit here at Hampton Downs. You see Michael Eden just arguing a spot there with Colin Sargison wide in the back of the field for the moment. Well, when you break 600 or 700 horsepower loose, you're going to get a sideways car. And look at Weakston sitting in third place, coming up over the top of the hill now in the Scania Holden, just as sideways as you like. Big lock-up from Stubber. He knows to treat that turn 1 with respect. The Australian, well, he came out here a couple of seasons ago, and there's all sorts of rumours that his car had a fuel-injected sprint car engine in it, and it was going to be the fastest thing on 4 wheels. He went back to Australia, he built a car to New Zealand specifications, and I've put the commentator's kiss of death on him because he's overshot turn number 2, and he is out for the moment, and that has handed Latrobe the lead. So Tim Latrobe, big motorsport pedigree in Latrobe, sitting behind the wheel of the Service European Mercedes. He's in the front. Weakston goes back into second place now, or inherits second place, I should say. But what happened to Paul Stubber? Well, he's had an unlucky run in New Zealand. He had a run-in with Steve Malem at the Pukekohe Park, Thunder in the Park meeting. Could have been a very, very serious accident. Luckily for both, they came through it unscathed. They took the car back to Australia. They rebuilt it. Steve Malem rebuilt the car he was driving. He is in this field as well and progressing towards the front. So maybe we'll see the meeting of the rivals a little bit later on as the laps wind down. But for the moment, it is Tim Latrobe, the Mercedes in menacing black. And he just picks up that bump in the centre of the circuit as they come up over the hill here at Hampton Downs. Well, to give you an idea how fast these guys are going, the very fastest of the Formula 5000s were getting around here in around about 61 seconds. Well, on a good lap, Paul Stubber was getting around here in about the 110s, 111s. Oh, another one going wide that time was Vern Muller in the XC Cobra. And also Weakston having a bit of trouble with traction as well. Or perhaps they're just out there enjoying it, soaking up the atmosphere, taking in all the sights and sounds and having a bit of fun here at the Festival of New Zealand Motor Racing. A tribute to Chris Amon. Latrobe grabbing gears as he comes up the hill and into the hairpin once again. Tightest turn on the circuit here at Hampton Downs. Slightly different lines for Vern Muller as he chases Shane Weakston. And behind him it's Alan Pearce these days out of Taupo in the little VK Commodore, another car that runs around about 600 odd horsepower. And these cars really purpose-built machines. Muller has a good long look up the inside, but Wigston's been around for a long, long time. Got his start in HQ racing, so he knows just where to put that Holden and make it as wide as possible. And if that means getting the tail out, that's going to work for him as well. I thought it might have cost him, but Muller had a bit of trouble getting the traction to the ground as well. So for the moment anyway, the Scania-sponsored Holden stays in second place, but he drifts a little bit wide coming into turn one. Has that allowed Muller to get close enough? No, it hasn't. But then the big lock-up from Wigston. Now he's drifted too wide, and Muller should inherit this, just getting a little bit sideways. It's all too much for Shane Wigston coming out of that very, very difficult off-camber turn. Oh, number 429 just going wrong there. That's Greg Honor in the 429 cubic inch Mustang. As we go back to this battle at the front, still trying to regain composure is Shane Wigston, as sideways as you like. Now he's getting some attention from Steve Malem. Meantime, Latrobe continues to circulate out in the front, pretty much away from what's going on behind him, away from the trouble. In and out of the hairpin he comes once again. There is Muller. There is Alan Pearce. Diving up the inside of Steve Malem in the Z28 Camaro and takes the spot from Wigston. Well, that Scania Holden's got plenty of grunt. He tries to go back on the outside, but I don't think he'll be able to do it. And Vern Muller just getting away from Alan Pearce here. Muller in the Falcon, Pearce in the Holden. So the Ford GM rivalry happens again here at Hampton Downs. Up and over the top they come. Muller in the XC Cobra. There is Alan Pearce. We are about three-quarter distance as we watch that beautiful Falcon come through, and then there's another beautiful car. Well, there's so many of them in the muscle cars. This is Steve Malem, car number 7 today in the Camaro. Behind him it is Shane Wigston. We go further back and find, by the look of the first of the Tiranas, the A90X of Clark Hopkins. Just saw him in the back of the shot there. Pearce gets a little bit closer now to Vern Muller. This is a battle for second and third, remember. Tim Latrobe further up the road, and Paul Stubber's done it again. Well, now is it a matter of having some tyre trouble, or is it a matter of just being a little bit exuberant for the Australian? They call him the cat in the hat, a bit like Jack Rouse. He wears this very sporting sun hat wherever you see him out of the car, does Paul Stubber. Latrobe, big lead as he goes down into the far bend. Oh, some problems here for Tony Boyden. He's made contact with a wall by the look of it in the Walkinshaw Holden. One of two beautiful cars that Tony's got. He's got an ex-Rod Coppins Camaro. It doesn't really conform to the rules of the muscle cars, but it's a beautiful car just the same. Look at the acid coming on here from Alan Pearce, trying to dive up the inside of Muller. Muller sees it coming and just shuts the door gracefully. Around about 2 to go here at Hampton Downs. Latrobe continues to lead. Vern Muller holding on tenaciously to second place. All the action coming from the man in third place, the little red Commodore, the VK Holden of Alan Pearce. He's tried everything. He's tried left, he's tried right, and Tim Latrobe has stopped now. Well, it's turning into a race of attrition here as Latrobe pulls off onto the grass. He's got a problem, so that means Vern Muller's inherited the race lead. Alan Pearce would love that number 1 spot, and Steve Malem there lurking with intent. Then I think it would be the Tin Man, and that is Shane Wigston, the Scania Holden. But it's this man, car number 25, that's leading, Vern Muller in the XC Cobra. Pearce gets a little bit closer, down through the hairpin they come once again, now trying to get the power to the ground, stay in the middle of the racetrack, make that Falcon as wide as possible. You'll know there'll be a challenge from Pearce. Yellow flags flying, so there's no passing. Waved yellow flags, not too sure what the problem is there. We might get a look of it as we watch Muller come round the sweeper. Oh, and it's Michael Eden's Falcon that's hard up against the wall, so he's got it wrong as well. One of the movers and shakers in the Central Muscle Car Group has got it wrong here at Hampton Downs. This man hasn't. The Falcon continues to lead the Holden as they go over the top and head into that blind turn number 1. And treating it with a fair bit of respect too is Vern Muller. You've got to remember that the cars this size with this much power will probably have used up most of their tyres and probably 3/4 of their brakes by now, so it really gets knife-edge stuff. Muller leads it, Pearce in second, Malem up into third place now. Then we go back to Bruce Anderson in the Mustang. Well, there's a blast from the past. Bruce and his brother Wayne, fixtures on the New Zealand motor racing scene for a long, long time in a Camaro and also a Mustang. Oh, and we just see at the back of the shot there, Stubber's got it, well, I was going to say under control, but it's doubtful. I think he's just out there having fun, just smoking the bags, not too worried about the result anymore, is the likeable Australian Paul Stubber, as we go back to the front, and these guys are very much worried about the result. Malem getting a bit closer now to Alan Pearce. The man holding all the cards and probably close as he can to his chest is Vern Miller in the XC Falcon Cobra, the coupe. Saw the stricken car there of Michael Eden. That was the reason for the yellow flags. Here comes the big top-end charge from Alan Pearce. Is he close enough? Not this time. Across the stripe they go once again. Last lap borders out, so Pearce, if he's going to do it, he's got to do it soon. Have a look on the replay. This is Paul Stubber, and this is Paul Stubber having fun, I would think. He threw away the race lead. That was probably a serious mistake, but after that I think it was just a matter of entertaining the crowds. And speaking of entertaining the crowds, what about Shane Wigston? As sideways as you like. And there's Hopkins just making a move to improve his position as we go back to the front of the field. And Pearce is close enough now to challenge, so Mullett will really have to look to his laurels here. Stubber once again is sideways as he comes up over the crest of the hill. The cars get very light, and that's an excuse for Paul Stubber just to light up the bags. Out of the hairpin they've gone for the last time. What's going to happen here? A lap traffic going to play a part? Alan Pearce thinks so. He's going to dive to the inside. Muller's going to hold on to his line. Balaam is there as well. The Monaro, is it going to get out of the way? Is it going to be a factor in this? Here comes the big charge from Pearce. Round the outside, wheel-to-wheel racing. Oh, the Monaro is going to balk Alan Pearce. He won't be happy with that, but it's going to leave, I think, Vern Muller with the race lead. Here they come. Down to the stripe they come, and it is the Falcon over the Holden, and Steve Malem closed as fast as you like in the Camaro to go through in third spot. Well, exciting racing in the muscle cars, and Vern Muller gets the win. In second place it is Alan Pearce in the Commodore, and in third place Steve Malem in the Camaro. Fourth place goes to Bruce Anderson in the Mustang, and in fifth it's the Tin Man Shane Wigston.